What's up, everybody? Welcome in to Money Shots. It's Thursday, and my power went out. Someone hit the power pole by my house, and things were fine. Everything was good, and now I had to rush to the closest Starbucks so that I'm able to hop on with you guys and give you some college basketball picks, talk some NFL weekend, and hopefully not cut out too bad. Kelly, how we feeling?
Megan, I'm feeling great. Better than you. We've all been there. The joys of working remote, right? It's good, it's bad, it's ugly, but this is some dedication. So kudos to you. So that I didn't have to do the show by myself.
Well, yeah, I couldn't leave you hanging like that. Mincy's on a train. Shay's still stuck in the yak. Well, I didn't say stuck because, the yak is very entertaining through and through. Sorry, it's just all one of our producers texted us, so I wanted to make sure that nothing too bad was going on, but everything's still good. But yeah, anyway, Kelly, you're headed off to Philly tomorrow, huh? Is that what's happening? Because we are
I'm
schedules.
so excited. So Cons from the Zero Blog 30 podcast had texted me a while ago, and he's like, "Have you ever been to Army Navy?" And I'm like, "You know what? No, it's always been a bucket list." And he's like, "All right, me and Kate and Chaps, Big Ev, a bunch of pin gaming people, we're all gonna go to Army Navy. You should come." And I'm like, "Okay, TBD, TBD." We're gonna see if this works out. I do have one last push, Megan. After last weekend, I thought I was gonna call it quits until I saw you for the Citrus Bowl, but I guess I'm going to Philly this weekend. And I figured if I'm in Philly, I might as well go to an Eagles game. But turns out they're actually playing in the Meadowlands. So I'm going to take a little train ride up and hit that game, fly out of New Jersey, and hopefully get some sleep next week.
Well, sleep when you're dead. Brianna always says.
As Brianna likes to say.
Yeah.
And as I said when I was in my 20s. But you guys call me and say that now because it's hard. It's really hard to keep up that lifestyle.
Yeah, and if you do, you'll probably get looped in and blamed for drinking too much at some point in your life. So it's all good. Let's go ahead and move on. Do you have any college basketball plays today? I want to go ahead and pat myself on the back. I went 5-2 yesterday. Should have been 6-1, and it could have been if I would have put Hofstra out because I did take them as well. It could have been an even better day, but that's neither here nor there. Today I'm on Iowa State plus the 4.5. Obviously, Iowa's a very good team, but they're going to try to bounce back here. Iowa State's defense, better defense catching the points. I thought about you as soon as I saw it. As long as they lock down Chris Murray, I think that they're going to be able to even win this game outright. I know that there's some speculation. Is Iowa State a good team? I think that they're a solid team, and this is a good spot to prove it for them in an in-state rivalry, and they should have some confidence after just coming off of that game, St. John's, I believe, and Iowa obviously losing to Duke.
Megan, I don't hate your play. I did initially lean towards Iowa, but the line looks a little fishy. I made this game 7. So in theory, I should just be all over the Hawkeyes. You're right. Iowa State's got a really solid defense. I like Fran McCaffrey. I know that a lot of people think that Iowa basketball can tend to be like Iowa football, but in fact, the offense is so much better. Iowa State does have a solid defense. And while TJ's done a really good job, this team likes to play like slow. So kind of was looking at this one, ended up staying off. I lost Hawaii last night and I went 1-1 the night before. So I'm not really trying to force a lot of plays. Like you're hot. You should be hammering plays. When you're cold, take a step back. Look at it. I was very close to being on Texas with you the other night. Very glad I didn't. Reverse line movement kind of kept me off of that one. So it's kind of been one of those things where I've been really picky with college basketball. I want to only give out 1 or 2 plays here and there. I am not going to be getting involved in this one, but I can completely see why you like Iowa State.
Oh, and just another little side note, the underdog in this match is 7-1-1 ATS last 9 meetings. So, look, Iowa State, I don't need them to win outright, so I'm taking the points. Hopefully they can get it done for me. Next game I took on the board, because it's a very, very short slate today, I took Michigan minus the 4. I just don't think that Minnesota has played anyone, and when they did, they played Purdue and got absolutely swamped. Meanwhile, Michigan's played Virginia, they've played Arizona State, and they only lost by a bucket, and then they played Kentucky, and they lost those games, but that's a humongous step up in competition from this Minnesota team. They also had a really big issue with the big man on Purdue, Edey, and I think Dickinson, even though he's a little smaller than him, I think he's a little bit more athletic, and it's going to give this Minnesota team an issue. I think Dickinson could go absolutely off tonight.
Yeah, listen, I would be all over Minnesota in this case. I saw that the line came down from 5.5 to 4.5. And normally that's like, all right, Kelly, take a look at the Gophers, but they can't shoot free throws. They can't hit 3-point shots and they play super slow. And those are the factors that really kept me off here because not that Michigan's some great free throw shooting team this year either. My problem really rises in the fact that if you look at Michigan's offense and what they're able to accomplish, even though they've lost the last two, I think this kind of appears to be a buy low spot on the Wolverines.
Which is exactly why I hopped all over it. I think the line's 4.5, and then as I said, I got the Iowa State Cyclones at 4.5, plus 4.5. I think that went down to 3.5, now back up to 4. So that's been jumping around all day as it should because those are the two biggest games on the board. Do you have any CBB you want to play today, or are you going to just wait on and just play the game tonight?
We'll see. I actually am not going to play the NFL tonight either. We'll see if I end up getting involved. Frank Martin, obviously, former K State coach years and years ago, but I like to follow him. And never once was I ever looking at the Atlantic 10 until, well, probably typically, let's be honest, January, February, right? In previous years, I'd watch the Big 12, Big 10, a little bit of SEC starting in November, December, but the A10 was never something of my focus. But now that Frank's there, I've got to pay a little bit more attention to this team because I am rooting for him. UMass Lowell, while this team has only lost one game this year, and that was to Rutgers, I think what we're going to see here is a really big push from Frank's kids at UMass. They play fast, they play hard, and they play a full game. You never see his coach teams take their foot off the gas. My good friend, or actually our good friend Adam, texted me this morning asking my thoughts, and he said, "Do you think we lay it with them here, 1.5, 2, or do we take the money line?" I believe Barstool, last time I looked, was minus 130. That would be how I would bet this one. I will tweet it out if I end up getting involved here.
I've been noticing that with those 2 point spreads here recently, it's either I don't play them or I need to play the money line because either
Yep.
like those 2 points have just been killing me, and that's been a lot of my losses. So that's when that went into consideration for capping yesterday and also today, giving myself a little bit more points either way. All right, let's go ahead and jump into tonight's game, though there's not a whole lot to jump into. Are the Rams starting Baker Mayfield? Like, do we know
Sure
like
looks
who's
like
starting?
it.
It
Sure
looks
looks
like
like it. Last I heard, John, let me Google it really quickly for you. Last I heard, John Wolford was, well, let me rephrase this. Baker Mayfield is expected to be activated right now, 33 minutes ago, expect to be active for Thursday Night Football. So that's what I'm going to trust because John Wolford is still hurt. We know he got hurt last week. That's why they picked him up. There's a lot of dynamic here and did like guessing, if you will, Megan, on how good Baker's going to be in a new offense. We've seen, I think it was, and now granted, he's not a quarterback, but I think it was a tweet that I saw about Christian McCaffrey. Oh, it's going to take him weeks to learn that offense. Week one just goes in there and balls out. But it's a little bit different for a quarterback. And it's also different and if your locker room trusts you. Uh, Los Angeles still has a really solid defense, right? Obviously, Jacobs has been going off. Devontae Adams has been going off. Vegas was my best bet last weekend. And throughout the entire 5.5 point line move, it didn't matter. They, led 27-13. I
which was
thought
great
they were
call by you. That was a fantastic. Like, there's not a lot of times you get that Salvi trophy and then get to win both ways. Like that was
yeah, never.
fantastic.
I literally was terrified, especially when the Chargers went down and scored almost immediately. So they didn't melt like we've seen them do in the past. But that's because I truly believe this Raiders team is so much better in the underdog role. When they know that they're a favorite or they're playing against a really banged up Los Angeles team with a quarterback they just picked up, that concerns me. So I can't lay it here with the Raiders. And I just think there's too many unknowns here with the Rams. This offense hasn't really been the same since Cooper Kupp went out. I know there's an argument to be made whether or not let's say it this way, whether or not he's worth a ton of points, but we know that he is an integral part of that offense. And when Matthew Stafford's elbow injury came out in July, Megan, it kind of became that talked about piece and almost an excuse or a crutch all season. And yeah, now no Aaron Donald. There's a lot to unpack here. And I think that's sometimes why it's just best to stay away. Vegas has been great in the prime time. Los Angeles has dropped 6 straight after winning last year's Super Bowl. I think this looks like a dumpster fire of a game, but something wonky could happen, like a pick six, because it is, Baker Mayfield, or, a
Derek Carr.
fumble six, special teams play where this could go over the total. Because at first glimpse, I'm going, all right, I'm going to take the under here. This is a total like 21-10 final snooze fest. But the Raiders' offense has shown me a little bit over the last few weeks, and that's a concern. And even last week with Wolford, the Rams were very competitive, but of course
They
they were.
are.
It was a divisional game.
Yep. No, I'm with you. I went ahead and I teased the Raiders down when it was just need them to win by one, and then I have them with the Vikings. I think the
Ooh,
Vikings can keep it respectable there. I think it's a buy low spot on them too. I mean, I just think that line's a
I
little
think
egregious, if you will.
I think you and I are the only two people in the world that like the Vikings this weekend. I'm not saying I'm going to bet them against the spread. I understand the line move. I understand that they have a flu going around their locker room or what other rumors are floating around on social media. I cannot confirm. I'm not in that locker room. Also, I've never had the flu, so I wouldn't know what it actually does to you. That being said,
Probably
I
always
do.
got your yearly flu shot. I know how much you love vaccines.
Megan. Oh, Megan. If I haven't been canceled enough in the last 24 months. Okay, Minnesota and the Ravens are my teaser spot for this week. I will tweet that out as well. And yeah, Megan, that's really, I didn't play a lot. I do have a best bet for Sunday, but I
So
didn't
you
get involved.
teased the Ravens, you said? I'm sorry.
I did. I
The,
teased the Ravens with the Vikings.
okay, so I was thinking about teasing the Ravens. Is Lamar Jackson's not going to be good though? It's going to be
It is
Huntley,
going to
right?
be Tyler Huntley, yes.
Okay. So I just wanted to make sure of that. Again, I haven't played it yet. I haven't finalized all of my NFL plays today, but besides tonight, and I also have a prop. I like Mac Hollins over 3.5 receptions. The last 3 games, he's gotten 6, 4, and 5, so he's gone over that. And as we both know, that Rams defense is just completely decimated, as you said. I just don't think they ever like. I don't want to say that they've given up, but it seems like they're definitely on a skid here, and I'm not trusting them to cover it. I just need the Raiders to continue to get the job done. They've been on their little 3-game win streak, so just need them to win again against this Rams team that literally don't know who's playing under center. So hopefully they will be able to get that done here. Let's go ahead and move on to more games this weekend so that we can get into your best bet. So do you want to just go ahead and just jump into your best bet, Kelly? Because I'm kind of excited. I want to know.
Yeah, listen, Megan, I gave out 7 divisional unders, right? And as you can tell, I teased 2 divisional teams. And divisional road teams have been excellent this year, and divisional unders are still hitting at almost a 65% clip. Now, everybody's like, well, Kelly, you never play 7 NFL games. Why are you playing so many? And it's just like last week and why I played 5, or excuse me, 6, if you include Monday night. It's because you don't want to cherry pick, right? We got somehow won the Giants under because somebody missed a field goal in overtime, and there was a late touchdown in Chicago, and we lost the under there. So it's better for me not to cherry pick and just bet them because I know that the system works basically since 2015, since they moved back to PAT. So that being said, my best bet, I have those 7 divisional unders this week. I tweeted those out, and I'm taking a divisional dog as my best bet. Now it sounds kind of crazy because I knew I was going to go to this game. I didn't want this to necessarily be my best bet, but here we are, and it is the New York Giants. I like this Giants team. I really like what Brian Dable has done, especially in those second half adjustments, right? To have a team be able to come back out and do what this team is capable of every single second half is nothing short of remarkable. Kudos to the Eagles. They've done a great job in this division. They started off 8-0. They were red hot. But I think that what the key to the Giants and winning this one is their defense plus slowing down the game. They're going to have to run the ball with Barkley and Jones, which we know that's what they're going to do. Plus, they kind of have a couple banged up receivers, which is why I think we saw this line move. Megan, the look ahead line that the Barstool Sportsbook put out over the summer, 2.5. So, as good as the Giants have been this year, they're still getting no respect. And I wanted to say, yep, Megan, give me a little bit of Giants money line, but Philadelphia has been so good as a favorite. They've won 15 of their last 16. But you know what they haven't done? They have not covered road games. They've covered one road game this season. And I'm just not gonna. I'm not gonna overthink this one. Give me a touchdown with the divisional home underdog. I think it's the way to go.
Look, I don't hate it. It's just hard to step in front of the Eagles, but I mean, you have the stats to back it. But man, what a freezing cold take by me not liking Jalen Hurts, right? Maybe it just took him. Maybe he just needed a year in the system to really develop himself, if you will. As I said, I don't have my full card ready yet, but we can look at a couple more games. What do you think of that Browns Bengals line? It seems a little high.
It does. And Megan, last week I knew a lot of sharp guys that like the Texans, and I'm going, ugh, I don't want to back the Texans. I understand the situation and where, Cleveland was looking ahead to the Cincinnati game. Good old Deshaun's back. Everybody's there watching him in Texas. There seemed like a lot of narratives, if you will. But he looked terrible. You know who looked good? The two guys I said were going to look good. That's right. The two-headed monster in the backfield because the Texans can't stop the run. Cincinnati looked really good in their win over Kansas City. I remember I was sitting at the Baltimore airport with a bunch of guys that laid it with Kansas City, and I was like, here it comes. Here is where we see, the differential between Burrow and Mahomes. And bottom line, the Bengals have the Kansas City Chiefs number right now. But I do think this line is too high. I would agree with you there. I am concerned with Deshaun and what he is actually capable of. When you take that much time off of football, it's always kind of interesting, if you will.
Well, if you
Can
take
you?
that much
Is it
time
right
off,
like riding a bike?
yeah, you just take it. Well, riding a bike is different, but if you take time off of it, it's still going to be weird to get back on the bike the first couple of times. Getting that initial pedal, it's a little rough. I don't know. I wanted to take it with the Bengals there, but that just seems like the spot where they beat the Chiefs and then they turn around and are just flat. And here comes the Browns, and here comes Deshaun Watson to have a breakout game, if you will. And I just can't root for that. Also, another line that seems kind of high, but I get it because they're at home. The Bills minus 10.5. What do you make of that? Because so many people have been playing the Jets the last couple of weeks. I don't think I've played the Jets maybe once this year. I don't know what to make of this game either. I'm not gonna lie. I have not loved this slate for the weekend. I'm like my brain is already like moving into college basketball mode. I'm getting a
I love
couple
that.
wins. I'm feeling a little good. Uh,
There's far more money to make in college basketball than the NFL, Megan, and you already knew that.
So what do you make of the Bills? Do you know any of your sharp friends that are on the Jets?
I am not on the Jets. I played the under, obviously, because it's a divisional under. The Bills still, to me, are the Super Bowl favorites that they once were, right? Now, the Jets definitely won in New York as double digit underdogs versus this Buffalo team. I remember cheering for them because so many people went out in Survivor. The Bills defense showed some really good promise, right? They held the Pats only 3 points in the second half of that game. Stephon Diggs, Josh Allen, they look like they're vibing really well. So all the hate that I was hearing out of Buffalo is probably BS. But you got to be able to force turnovers here. And if you want to win double digit type games, Josh Allen happens to throw turnovers. And I think that's going to be the difference maker here. Hopefully, it doesn't screw me on the total because that always is not something you're planning for, right? But we'll see. I'm very apprehensive. The Jets team, if you remember, now granted, that was
What
with
did you
a
make
different.
that total at? It's at 44 now.
I laid under 44 and a half
Okay,
is
that I
what it
mean,
was.
just out of curiosity, because I feel like usually that's not a very Kelly and Vegas play, but with the Bills laying 10 and the total being relatively low, what do you make of that?
It is scary, Megan. Don't get me wrong. Like this could have blowout written all over it. And I hope that it doesn't for obvious reasons. But I do think with a lower total in like certain teaser spots, it's right. This one is literally just a pure system play, Megan. Just because I have a 600 plus game sample size. My biggest thing here is you got to look at the weather whenever playing late in Buffalo. The Bills have had 3 extra days to prepare for a team that just beat them in New York, right? So that revenge comes into play, even though you can't quantify it. But I am definitely concerned with interceptions here with a low total. I do think this is probably going to be a 21-17 type final. Jets do get the cover unless they do something stupid and it ends up, 27 or 28-17 because they throw a late pick six or something bad happens. I'm telling you, when you said you haven't bet the Jets all year, I bet them once. And what do you think happened? Fumble six.
Not the best outcome. Just want to let everyone know the show is about to end, so make sure you have liked and subscribed to the Barstool Sportsbook YouTube page. Make sure you're following Kelly and I because the show's about to change a little bit. It's college basketball season, so we got to kind of focus things around our winter sports. Kelly and I will be doing a Spaces on Saturday mornings before you put in your college basketball picks, of course, at the Barstool Sportsbook. So we can give you our best bets there. We're going to be back on Thursdays to do NFL and Mondays, of course, to do a little NBA too with Steve and Che. I do not bet NBA, but I will be following Kelly and Che blindly into the abyss. I do NBA only on Christmas though, really, but that's
only on Christmas. That's
only
how they get you, Megan. They get you on Christmas when there's no bowl games or anything else going on. Except for this year, we do have some NFL games, obviously, which will be nice as well. But yeah, that's where it starts, betting the NBA. I prefer betting the NBA later on in the season. As you know, there's a ton of opt-outs, whether it's self-inflicted or not, just because there's some of those teams they already have their hopes set on the playoffs, so they like to rest themselves. Greg Popovich, very well known for that. But yeah, we'll get into some NBA. I've always got some stuff here and there that I can share. And we know Che's going to come in hot with those props.
Absolutely. And Mincy will be rotated on here. Obviously, we've lost our third mic. We're not going to talk about that. It's been talked about enough. You've all seen it on Twitter. RIP to Mike 3, but we will resurrect
Mike 3.
And
to the guest. Rest in peace to the guest.
Yes, rest in peace, guests. But thank you guys for watching. As I said, we are switching up the format. You can catch us on Saturday morning on Spaces. I'm sure Kelly and I will both send out a tweet to remind everyone of that. Then back on Monday and then Thursday. So you guys enjoy the weekend. I hope you hit all your bets. Make sure you're following Kelly because she's going to go to Army Navy, so she'll have a ton of great content out. And I'm about to leave this fucking Starbucks because I'm about over it. So I hope you'll have a great weekend. Follow Money Shots and the Barstool Sportsbook YouTube page. Have a great weekend again.